Hi everyone! Welcome back. If you're new, I'm Periwinkle Jellyfish, and I'm a silly little person that draws silly little characters. Today I will be drawing a winter character because, well, it's December now, so that means I have all the excuse I need to draw just the coziest characters I possibly can. Everyone's always saying it in my comments section how adorable my art style is, and of course I appreciate that, so I decided that I'm just going to try to lean into that as much as possible and just see how cute I can make this one character. I want to have multiple different art styles at my disposal to use however I wish, so recently I have been using just a lot of my anime art style because I've been trying to practice that and get a little bit better at it, experiment with different body proportions. But I also have a chibi art style that I can use, and I haven't used it in a really long time, and if I want to have a lot of different art styles at my disposal, I need to use them actively so I don't forget how to do it, and just, keep growing in both styles. So that's why I'm drawing in my chibi art style today. It kind of reminds me of my really old videos. Don't watch them, they're so old, please. So this character is just snuggling up in a really cozy little fluffy scarf, and it looks so nice, and she looks so happy. Like, this character is just, like, she's warm in my heart because she's so cute! So I'm just now working on her hairstyle, and I wanted it to be a little bit shorter than I usually would. The big thing that I wanted to focus on was her scarf. Like, that's, like, the main thing she's doing in this thing. She's just cuddling with it and looks so happy with it. I gave her a big sweater, which I thought was really cute and nice. And I gave her a little beanie hat with a little pom-pom at the very top, which was so cute. In this simplistic art style, I'm using thicker lines than usual, and I'm adding a bit less details than I usually would. Just so that everything seems a little bit soft and not like so much is going on. This character just seems like completely at peace and just like in such a calm little setting, which I think is just so cute! My goal for this character was just maximum cuteness. Above all, maximum cuteness. So, yeah. After coloring in the eyes, I decided to work on the scarf next because, well, it's a very important part of this piece, and, well, it's what she's interacting with in this picture. It would be very boring if she was just standing there blankly. But when she's sitting, just holding that little scarf, cozying up next to it, it just makes things a lot more interactive and, well, not interactive, more active. That's what I was trying to go for. So yeah, I'm making this scarf very, very long. I can't imagine how long it took to make that. I've been crocheting scarves as well, just because winter is coming, and, well, actually it is here now. And I just find it really fun and a good way to pass the time. I was experimenting with the different ways to draw this pom-pom, but in the end I decided to go for this wavy way to draw it. I was doing the line art of the clothes first and then her hair because, like, she has a hat on top and a scarf that's kind of in front of that, so by all means, that should mean that the clothes should be the higher layer, if that makes sense. I decided to give her shorter hair than I usually would just because I thought it would be cuter. And now I'm moving on to coloring. Wait, nope, I lied. I'm adjusting things in the scarf first. And now we're moving on to coloring. I decided to give this character a soft, cold color palette, and as always, I'm starting off with the hair first because it's one of the most fun things for me to draw. I did a little bit of the bucket tool and a little bit of just coloring things in manually just because this simplistic art style takes less time than it usually would, so I was like, I need to find a way to just make this long as possible so this video isn't insanely short, but spoiler alert, it already is. So yeah, I'm just coloring in those little streakies. I don't know why I call them the little streakies, but I do. I was trying to not make the color changes in this hair too dramatic. I was trying to keep everything very soft and light and pastel and cold, just because that's what I wanted this to look like, I guess. I added less streakies and different colors than I usually would, just because I felt like that would also add to the simplistic feeling to this. Now I'm coloring in her little sweater, like, I don't know why I said that, I'm giving her this kind of polar blue, I want to say. Like, it seems very icy, if that makes sense. I'm coloring in her sleeve now, and just trying to not color outside the lines, because I am very persnickety about this. I love saying that word, persnickety, persnickety. It just is really fun to say. So now I am moving on to adding a gradient to her sweater, just because I thought it would look really, really cute. I just couldn't decide how I wanted it to look. I thought about maybe adding roses, but that didn't really work too well. I thought maybe a gradient, but I had to experiment with the color. I just had to experiment with a lot of different brushes in Clip Studio Paint before I found something that worked well. So now I'm just adding a little bit of a gradient to the edge of her sleeve, just because there was an edge on her other sleeve and the bottom of her sweater, so I had to just add that manually. Now I'm coloring in her beanie and her scarf, and for the sake of color cohesiveness, I made those two the same color. This was a fairly simple process, and now I'm just coloring in that adorable little cat pin on her beanie. Personally, I love putting little pins on my beanies. I only have one because I'm not really wearing those too often, but I just think they're super cute. I did cute little rosy cheeks just because I thought this would add to the cute effect I wanted to go for. And now I just had to edit one a little bit. And now we can move on to coloring in the line art. This is part of my rendering process. So I colored in her skin, now I'm coloring in her eyes. Accidentally made them disappear for a second, but it's okay, we fixed it. Now I'm coloring in her hair, and I wanted everything to have just a soft effect, so just darker versions of the colors that are already there. Now we're in the home stretch, and all we had to do left was just color in her nose and mouth, and now we can move on to the final part of rendering, which is shading and lighting. So now I'm just adding everything into one layer, and then just adding a multiply layer on top of the big folder. I know there has to be a better way to do this, but this is just the way that I know, so oh well. I made her lighting fairly simple, just a add glow by her beanie and a soft shadow on the other side. And there we go, now we're done. So here's the finished character. Thank you so much for seeing this video through to the end, and please let me know if you have any ideas on what to name this character down in the comments below. And if you have any suggestions on what I should draw next, don't feel shy and just go and feel free to tell me. Yeah, I believe that's all, so I'll see you again later. Bye!